It's weaving time.
When the Navajo's ancestors migrated from their northern Athabascan homelands into the American Southwest sometime during the mid-14th century, they probably did not bring the art of loom weaving with them. However, while the earliest known Navajo weaving closely resembles the textiles made by their neighbors, the Pueblo Indians, historical Navajo weavers were quick to explore and expand beyond the repertoire of indigenous Pueblo designs. By the mid-17th century, Navajo weavers were creating decorative blankets that clothed their families, provided bedding, and served other useful purposes. As colonization and industry entered the American Southwest, the Navajo adapted to a changing market. Weavers created striking works of art while serving new and demanding buyers. Navajo weavers create inspiring works of art that serve as a record of the culture itself. Each rug embodies not only the trials and celebrations of the Navajo people, but a moment in that weaver's life. As weaving is passed down through generations, each weaver is linked by their ability to maintain tradition while adapting to changing times. Margaret Yai is a fourth-generation Navajo weaver. At 76, she has lived in the Two Gray Hills area of the Navajo Nation for her entire life. She is a master of the Two Gray Hills style, which features natural sheep's wool and colors and geometric patterns. She spends much of her time with her sister and next-door neighbor, Ruth Teller. Margaret learned to weave by the age of 7 without any formal training.
It's the same way then as it is now. A weaver works at home in front of her children. She asks them for help with her weaving. They help and they watch, and that's how they learn. As a child, all I did was herd sheep. I followed them all the time, and from there I learned how to shear the sheep, and then I learned how to butcher them.
Margaret excelled at both loom weaving and wool preparation. Due to her exemplary technique and style, she quickly became respected within the weaving community.
My Aunt Margaret is an amazing weaver. She's one of those people who other weavers go to when they have problems with their work. You know, like say I'm working on a piece and something happens to it and I don't know how to fix it. That's when Aunt Margaret comes in.
Like many weavers, Margaret's rugs provided the main source of income for her family, enabling her to raise 7 children.
Because of my weaving, my children and my grandchildren look at me with admiration and reassurance. It feels so good to share with them, but I know that I have to save some of my money, and I have to conserve because I know I have to set up another rug and that my next sale is a long ways away. This is just how I am.
Margaret's success as a weaver provides her with the opportunity to be entirely independent, both professionally and personally.
I don't know how many years I've been driving. My husband Wilson was working on the railroad and he brought a car back. Someone had to drive it back for him because he didn't know how to drive it. It was an automatic. He tried really hard to learn, but he never got the hang of it. So I learned how to drive on that car.
As weavers continue to excel in this cultural art, the parallels between historic and contemporary weaving presents a dynamic relationship between the past and present. In this rapidly changing world, many weavers look to the work of their ancestors as a means of achieving balance in their work.
In the 200 and 400 distances, not a lot of people thought he could medal here.
Boy, Skumont is just...
Barbara Teller Ornelas is a fifth-generation Navajo weaver. She lives in Tucson, Arizona with her husband and 2 college-age children. Barbara's diligent passion for weaving has earned her numerous awards and recognition. She is an important spokesperson for weaving today.
I believe that my rugs have all kinds of different kinds of personality. I think that my 2 grays have a lot of spunk, a lot of spirit, whereas the front waters I do are real soft, real subtle, real quiet. But with these old pieces, they just have another kind of spirit altogether. They tend to tell you about the struggles that they came from. They tend to tell you who the weavers were who first created these pieces. Of all my work that I've done, I think doing the old style it has a lot more power. I mean, I sit here at nighttime when I'm working and I think about the struggle that these women went through to create these beautiful patterns, and and they basically use whatever they found for materials for their work. And they found tree limbs, and they built looms, and they found blankets that they unraveled to get colors from. They found bugs in plants to make different colors for their weavings, and it's just incredible. I know what they came up with. What a beautiful legacy they left behind. What a beautiful gift they gave us. You just wish you knew who they were and what their names were and what part of the reservation they lived in. It's crazy. This is my calling, I put all my hopes and dreams into my work. I put my heart and soul into my work. I look at one of my pieces that I've done a long time ago and know exactly what was happening in my life, because the rug will tell me what was happening to me at that point. You can just see my whole history of my life and my work. When you see my weaving, you see me. And when you see me, you see my weaving. We're one and the same.
Michael Teller Ornelas is Barbara's youngest child, a 6th-generation Navajo weaver. At 19, Michael is just beginning to make a name for himself in the southwestern art world through museum awards, exhibits, and special commissions.
Before I started weaving, I saw my mom's rugs as just something every mother did. It was just like a fact of life. She wove in her room, I played with my toys. Didn't think much more than that. After I've started weaving, I could come to understand how hard it is to weave.
When I was a kid, my mom was teaching me weaving, and it was like piano lessons, and it was really hard on me. But when I was teaching my son, we made it more into a game, that if he would reach a certain point, he would win a prize. If he did a certain pattern, he would win a prize. And he really took to weaving that way, and it was much more fun for him.
For this younger generation of weavers, the techniques behind this indigenous art remain the same, but are performed amongst computers, televisions, stereos, and other modern conventions.
Technology works both ways, really, because one way, it allows us to have like metal needles, that are combs, sandpaper, so you can file the stuff down. But it also makes it so that there's a lot more distractions.
As we continue in a world so reliant upon technology, weavers utilize these innovations and therefore are able to maintain traditions.
Weaving and video games generate their own kind of stress, yet somehow I'm able to play them and do them so that they cancel each other out. To me, weaving represents balance in life. Everything you have to do with weaving deals with balance. You can't use enough strength, you can't use too much strength, or else you're going to break strings. The weaving, if it's too tight, it'll go in like an hourglass. If it's too loose, it just won't look right. So you have to find the third option. You have to find you have to find a certain degree of strength and balance between everything. And then your rug will be complete. I'm still trying to figure out a way to balance modern life and tradition.
Margaret, Barbara, and Michael are modern Navajo weavers. Their rugs are a reflection of the contemporary landscape in which they are made. At the same time, weaving binds them to their cultural history, allowing them to make innovative contributions to this living native art.